Hello, everyone. My name is Kayla Mahan Blake, and I am going to be your host for Travel Week for this webinar. Moab is more than just a destination, it's the ultimate gateway to adventure. Nestled at the crossroads of two breathtaking national parks, two stunning state parks, and the mighty Colorado River, it offers endless opportunities to explore some of the most iconic landscapes in the American Southwest. Today in this webinar, we are going to discover why Moab is the perfect base camp for unforgettable outdoor experiences, from red rock canyons to river adventures, and start planning your next journey into this spectacular region. So before I hand things over, I just want to do a bit of housekeeping. We do have a gift bag prize, so if you want to qualify, you do have to stay until the end of the webinar today. It'll be about an hour. Are going to be answering all of your questions at the end of the presentation. So if anything comes to mind, you can put it in the Q&A box and we will make sure to answer everything at the end. So I would like to introduce Alison Harford, who is the Assistant Marketing Director. Thank you so much for being here and take it away whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Allison or Allie Harford. Thank you all for being here and for being curious about Moab. So, I work at the Moab Office of Tourism, which is the DMO in Moab, Utah. So, we work to promote welcoming, extraordinary travel experiences that support our local community. And that also means that we can connect you with local businesses from hotels to guide companies to restaurants. Moab is a town of about 6,000 people, but we see over 2 million visitors a year. So if you really want to create experiences that are rooted in the local community, working with us is the way to do that. And a little about me too. I've lived in Moab for about 5 years, and I haven't even begun to scratch the surface of this place. Um, I grew up in Colorado, just across the way, and Moab is really home for me now. So where is Moab? We are in the southeast corner of the state. We're about 3 hours, 45 minutes or 4 hour drive from Salt Lake City Airport. Um, we're 2 hours from Grand Junction. That's in Colorado, and there's another airport there that you could fly into to visit us. And we also have a very small local airport. So Moab, the town, is about 20 minutes from our regional airport. And we're also a gateway to Arizona, Nevada, Idaho, Wyoming, New Mexico. We're really in this like amazing Four Corners region. So Moab is well worth any road trips that you might take. So we're best known for Arches National Park. You can see Delicate Arch on the left. It's a huge freestanding arch, really gorgeous and beautiful. There's no timed entry this year, so you can come in and out of the park just with your park pass. And then there are actually over 2,000 arches in Arches National Park. So there's much more to explore here beyond just Delicate Arch, and there are a lot of ways to do that. Canyonlands National Park is another national park that's right near us. This is one of the largest parks in the country, so it's split into three districts. The district that's closest to Moab is Island in the Sky. Island in the Sky is on top of a huge mesa that rises above Moab and the canyons that have been carved by the Colorado and Green Rivers. On the left, you can see Mesa Arch, which is a really popular and beautiful sunrise spot. And on the right is Schaefer Trail. So one of the best ways to explore the Island in the Sky district is actually in the backcountry. And you can do that with local guides or even on self-drive if you have like a four-wheel drive capable vehicle. But Schaefer Trail rises from, you can follow it from Moab, and then you'll carve your way up on top of the mesa up these switchbacks, as you can see. Dead Horse Point State Park, we're also really well known for. It has this really gorgeous vista where you can see the Colorado River, and it's often mistaken for the Grand Canyon. Um, Dead Horse has these like really beautiful viewpoints, but what a lot of people miss is that there are really easy mountain biking trails here. So, Moab is really well known for its mountain biking, but if it's something you want to try and you feel a little intimidated, exploring at the state park is a perfect way to get started. You can rent a bike right at the visitor center, and you can also rent an e-bike if you'd like to. And there are beginner trails and intermediate trails and some difficult trails as well. So really something for everyone. And that's a great way to spend a little bit more time in this state park. So you can do day trips from Moab. A few parks that are nearby are Goblin Valley State Park on the left here, where you can explore these like goblin rock formations. And it's this free, that just open area. Sorry, there's a fee, but it's this like freestanding open area where you just get to go down and explore amongst the rocks. And then the Needles District of Canyonlands National Park is also accessible within an hour and a half drive of Moab. This is a really wonderful place to do longer hikes in Canyonlands and really take your time wandering and exploring. And along the way, you'll pass through Indian Creek, which is part of the Bears Ears National Monument. And it's surrounded by these really tall, beautiful cliffs where in the spring and in the fall, birds of prey will nest there and have their babies. So, dark sky parks. The city of Moab itself is an international dark sky community. We're certified. And then Arches, Canyonlands, and Dead Horse Point are all certified by the International Dark Sky Association. So it really is a premier stargazing destination. And there are a lot of ways to do that. You can just pick a vista that you loved in the day in one of the parks and go back at night and see what you can see. Um, but you can also go on a guided trip. So this picture I actually took on my phone when I was on a guided photography tour with Moab Dark Sky Tours. They're a tour company that specializes in star photography in the national parks, even if all you have is like an iPhone 11. But they're amazing at working with your fancy cameras too, if you're a photographer. And actually, in this picture, you can see a little bit of the northern lights, which were peeking down into Moab this year. Stargazing Moab is another guided stargazing company that we have here. They do the full experience where you go out and they set up a telescope, and they set up these big like pillow mattresses and you lay down and you stare up into the sky and a guide has a laser and they point out constellations. So our guided experiences range from like telescope constellation viewing to how to really soak it in and get a good photo of the stars. So guided experiences in the parks. So I touched a little bit on this as ways to kind of go beyond just seeing Delicate Arch or just seeing Mesa Arch. And really the best way to do that is to go with a guide. So guides can take you through the backcountry and they can also take you on scenic park tours. So they can point out things like dinosaur fossils and petroglyphs and kind of tell you the history and the story of these places. One of my favorite fun facts about arches that I learned on a guided tour was that it actually used to be covered in water. This was part of a massive inland sea when the dinosaurs roamed here. And so it's really fascinating to imagine arches as more of like a beach, and then imagine it eroding down to what we see today and beyond. So we have these two national parks and two really wonderful state parks, but we're also surrounded by thousands of acres of public lands. So these are lands that you can explore hiking or canyoneering or biking or off-roading. And we have guides that can show you all of those experiences. And as a DMO, we have a few recommended trails that we like to point out to people as well. So off-roading, in addition to mountain biking, Moab is really known as this off-roading hub. There are lots of different ways to do this too. You can rent a vehicle like one of these Jeeps on the left and do self-led tours. You can follow a guide, so they're in a vehicle and then you're in a vehicle behind them. And you can also hop in with a guide if you don't trust yourself to drive, which I usually hop in with somebody else and have them drive. But there are Jeeps for rent here. You can also rent UTVs. which are these like extremely capable buggy type vehicles, if you're not familiar with them, that's pictured in the top right there. And we also have a lot of dirt biking, so you can rent a dirt bike with a guide and go explore that way. And then unique experiences. There are a lot of ways to see the Southwest and really get this Southwest feeling. One offering that I love in Moab is horseback riding tours through old Western film sets. So a lot of Westerns were filmed out here, out along one of our scenic byways. And a great way to explore those areas is to hop on horseback, and then you really get this like cowboy Western feel. You can also go whitewater rafting through the Maze District of Canyonlands National Park. So the Maze District is our third district of the park. It's really hard to get to if you're not on the river, but there is a really amazing river experience that you can do from Moab to Lake Powell that cuts through Canyonlands National Park. It's called Cataract Canyon, and it takes multiple days, and you get this really big whitewater. But it's a really amazing way to see that part of the park. And you can also do a scenic flight. So there are scenic flights over Arches National Park and Canyonlands National Park, and that's a really amazing way to see the geology and geography of this area from up high, and then you really start to like put this region together. There are also sunrise hot air balloon tours here. Um, you can raft. You don't have to go crazy on the rafting. You can do easier sections of the Colorado River. But really, there's like so many ways to explore this landscape beyond just a scenic drive through our national parks. So, lodging. I mentioned that Moab is a town of 6,000 people, but we see 2 million visitors. And so there are over 3,000 hotel rooms in Moab. And it really remains this like small town, rural feel, but we have these really amazing amenities. So you can stay at anywhere from motels to cabins to really amazing luxury options. And there are some pretty unique properties in town and along the Colorado River. So Red Cliffs Lodge, pictured in the upper right here, just went through a massive renovation. So all of their rooms are renovated and their main lodge is renovated as well. And that's a really beautiful property, and it's also very popular for weddings. We have Sorrel River Ranch, which is located on the Colorado River. That just came under new management. So we're pretty excited about that property. That is a very high-end luxury option. You'll stay in like a private cabin right along the Colorado River, and it almost feels like you have the whole region to yourself. Um, Wolf's Hotel is new within the last couple of years. It's a small boutique indie hotel. They have a fantastic restaurant, and they're really defined by their aesthetics. Um, Lions Back Resort is another luxury option that's located just outside of town, right at the entrance to Sand Flats Recreation Area, which is where the Hell's Revenge Trail is for off-roading. That offers 2 to 3 bedroom, like luxury homes for rent. Um, the Hoodoo, pictured on the left, is one of our most popular properties that's located right in town. They have this amazing pool and a really fantastic bar and restaurant. I always recommend the Hoodoo. And then we have this ranch style accommodation at Moab Springs Ranch, which also offers private cabin rentals and motels. So there's the Apache Motel, which is actually where John Wayne used to stay when he would film in Moab. And they offer the John Wayne Suite as a place that you can stay, which is the exact room that he slept in when he would come to Moab. And the Bighorn Lodge, which is pictured here as well on the bottom right, which is a really easygoing, lovely accommodation, also located right in town. So you can walk to restaurants and shopping. And speaking of our restaurants, there's some pretty fantastic food in Moab for being located so off the beaten path. We really do have global cuisine offerings, and anything from these like big diner style plates to luxurious multi-course meals. Um, the Jailhouse is a popular breakfast restaurant that just started serving dinner. And the Moab Food Truck Park is getting really popular. It's a super easy lunch spot. There are over 10 food trucks there that all surround this nice picnic area. So really it's like everyone can decide their own thing that they want to eat, and then you can all get together under this picnic area and eat together. There are four Thai restaurants in Moab, and all of them are excellent. There's also excellent Mexican food. And our newest restaurant is Elsie's, which offers beignets and croissants and pastries and coffee. So you can usually find something that you want to eat, and it's easy to enjoy the food here, especially after you've been on a big hike and you're just looking to refuel. So in town, the town of Moab is growing in a really, really wonderful way. So Main Street is actually located right on our highway, but a lot of locals are starting to open like coffee shops and bookstores and art galleries, and there's some really wonderful shopping options. So some of our art galleries include Moab Made and Gallery Moab. Both of them feature art by local artists. As you would imagine, it's pretty easy to get inspired here. It's a really beautiful place, and so it inspires some really fantastic local art. And those are always worth checking out. Gallery Moab and Moab Made change around a lot, so they're always switching out their art and featuring new artists and things like that. Back to Beyond Books is our local bookstore. If you've heard of Edward Abbey, which I'm assuming a lot of you have, Back to Beyond Books has his desk. So you can go visit Edward Abbey's desk. You can explore locally written books, like books by local authors. You can explore, they have, popular fiction, sci-fi, pick up a book while you're in town. And they also have a really amazing rare section. So they have a lot of like vintage maps from the 50s and 60s when Moab was starting to become really popular. And there's also some really wonderful coffee. I say this and I highlight this because I'm a coffee fiend, and I'm thrilled at the coffee selections here for being such a rural place. So our newest coffee shops are Moss Cafe and Dos Moss Cafe. They're perfectly located right in town, really excellent. People sometimes say that that's the highlight of their trip, which is hard to believe when you're competing with Delicate Arch, but the coffee's that good. And we also have kind of the typical um, diner style food. So Milt's is our oldest restaurant. It opened in the 50s and it's still pretty much the same. They offer like burgers and shakes, and there's also the Moab Diner. So that's Moab. There's so many more things to do here. And like I said, I've lived here for 5 years and have barely scratched the surface. But yeah, please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Ali. That was a great presentation. Sounds like there's a ton of things to do. So everyone, if you have questions, please make sure they are in the Q&A box. We're going to go through those now. Okay. So we have a question from Brett. Are there any Indigenous experiences?
Yeah, so if you're looking for like guided tours with Indigenous folks, it's you'll find more of those in to the south in San Juan County. Here, this was an area that people really just passed through. It's not really much of like a Mesa Verde where people lived. It was more of we found that Indigenous folks would come and farm and be here seasonally, and so there are some petroglyphs that you can find, and there are petroglyph tours. But if you're looking for like guided experiences and really sinking in, then you'll find those more in San Juan County.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Next question is from Martin. How many nights do you recommend advisors suggest for somebody who's visiting for the first time?
Yeah. I usually suggest 2 or 3 nights. You're gonna want time to soak it in and take in the national parks. So you could spend a whole day in Arches. If you're just seeing the sights in Canyonlands, that would be like half a day. But I always recommend putting in some sort of guided experience or exploring more of the surrounding public lands too. I always feel like the parks could go so much further and their boundaries could be so much bigger. Um, so, and it takes a while to get here too. So you're going to want travel days on either end and then at least 2 or 3 days to really explore. So 2 to 3 nights.
Great. Yeah, I guess it really depends on what clients want to do as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we have a few more questions. So from Maria, did you mention there were photography specific tours? Like, do they teach you how to take photos?
Yes, they do. Yeah, so we have like landscape photography tours and also these specific stargazing photography tours. And the stargazing ones are really fun because they can teach you how to take photos on your phone. Um, so you don't need a fancy camera or anything like that, and they'll bring tripods and everything that you need and teach you kind of all the tips and tricks for getting really good photos.
That sounds like such a fun experience.
Mhm.
Our next question is from Susie. So she says, we arrive next month. What's the weather like and what clothing is recommended?
Yeah, so if you're coming in June, it'll be warm. I'm thinking about how to do, I'm like, all the temperatures are in Fahrenheit in my brain. Hold on. Okay, so your daily highs are going to be in the 80s in Fahrenheit, and then in Celsius, that's like 27 to like 30. So during the day, it is going to get warm and hot. So I would always recommend like shorts and some sort of sun t-shirt, like a sun hoodie or something to cover your shoulders. And then just bring water with you and extra snacks. It won't be like stiflingly hot, but Moab is in a desert, so it'll be warm.
Definitely. Okay. Next question is from Brett. Snakes, scorpions, coyotes, are they there and are they dangerous?
Okay. We do have snakes and scorpions, technically. I have never seen a snake here. I've only ever seen like not a rattlesnake here. And that was really rare. I've been on 2 hikes that I've seen like a garden snake or a bull snake. And they usually just slither away from you. Scorpions, I have lived here for 5 years and I've seen 2 scorpions. Usually they stick to themselves. I've never seen one actually moving. They're just kind of hidden in a rock. One of our state parks, Dead Horse Point State Park, actually does a scorpion walk at night where you can get a black light because they glow and you can go hike and look for them, and they're always just sitting really still. Um, so it is a desert, but our wildlife is not super dangerous, and usually they want to avoid you. So you'll usually just see them scurrying away or trying to hide.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't think they want any interaction with us either.
Yes, totally.
Okay, so next question is from Harper. Should clients book reservations in high season for restaurants?
Yeah, this is a good question. A lot of our restaurants don't offer a reservation. So during the high season, I usually recommend walking to a restaurant, putting in your name, and then building in a little bit of time to explore around town. Usually the wait isn't very long. It's like 20 to 30 minutes. If you can get a reservation, like I know that one of our popular, or a couple of our popular restaurants offer them, but most of them are just walk-in anyway. So if you can get a reservation, then I would recommend it. But you won't find trouble getting into restaurants here.
Perfect. Thank you. That's good to know. Next question is from Marcus. Is Moab better suited for self-drive clients, or do you find more people want fully guided experiences?
Yeah, this is a great question. I think it's a little bit of half and half, just because this area is so vast that you are inevitably going to want to take your time and explore it by yourself. So guided experiences can really help point you in the right direction and show you, it's like we call it the fast track to what's good. So really easy to explore a national park by yourself, but it's not necessary to have a guide. Um, but they do like really enhance your experience. So I know that's kind of a non-answer, but I wouldn't recommend one over the other. It really depends on your client. If they want to see everything and do everything, I would say self-drive. But if they really want to sink their teeth into this place, then I would say guided experience.
Perfect. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. All right. Well, I think that is all of the questions that we have for today. So we will wrap up here. Thank you so much for being here, Ali. It was a great presentation. And thank you, everyone, all the travel advisors for being here as well. We will see you next time when we have our next webinar. And we are going to be drawing the prize offline. So we will contact you by email if you are the winner. So I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend and we will see you next time.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.